Marijuana was invented by God for people who really need it, and I really need it.
Former Army Vietnam War vet John Pennell says his deployment left him with post-traumatic stress disorder. To combat his PTSD, Pennell turns to marijuana. He agreed to let us film him while he smoked, but before we got there, he told us his teenage drug dealer had just been arrested.
Oh, I'm definitely breaking the law. I don't want to.
But Pennell isn't alone.
This one right here is a sativa.
A growing number of veterans are now turning to cannabis, legal or not. One of them is Navy vet Kevin Spence.
And all I do is just inhale, take a deep breath.
Spence has PTSD and suffers from severe back pain. He says prior to marijuana, he was on 20 or more different prescriptions.
I mean, I was suicidal. Years I didn't even leave my house. This changed my life. My doctor was amazed because I kept dropping medications.
While Spence's doctor was stunned by his recovery, he ultimately told the vet that he could no longer treat him if he continued to use marijuana, even medicinal marijuana like this. And this situation isn't uncommon. According to him, multitudes of doctors all around the country are being faced with similar marijuana dilemmas.
He'd been my doctor for 20 years. I mean, I asked him right up front, do you want me to quit? If you want me to quit doing it, I will do that. And he, quote unquote, told me that would be malpractice on my part. He said, look at what it's done for you.
Another doctor caught in the drug war is Dr. Sue Sisley. Sisley researches marijuana and other Schedule I narcotics and was fired from the University of Arizona for wanting to test alternative treatments for PTSD.
I was skeptical, believe me. I didn't want this to be right. I felt like we at least had a duty to these veterans to study the plant in a rigorous, controlled environment rather than just dismissing their claims.
There are only 2 FDA-approved treatments for PTSD, Zoloft and Paxil.
Before cannabis, when I was running the gauntlet through the VA and the Army medical system, I was prescribed a cocktail of medications that kept me down.
I think that, if there's a potential that this plant could reduce human suffering, I think that we have to enable this plant to be studied.
Unlike the man-made drugs, vets say weed does one thing for certain.
It helps me sleep, and that if I had to pick one thing that I can contribute to my ability to lead a productive life, it's the fact that I can sleep now.
I can sleep without waking up in Vietnam. That's one of them, because I don't want to have those dreams anymore.